Hello, and welcome to another edition of Comics and Pop. This week we are going to be talking about the recently released Black Widow movie, and there's a lot to digest in this one. We have a lot of Easter eggs to talk about. We have special appearances. First Taskmaster in the MCU, really. Red Room, Red Guardian, and a lot more. What do you guys think of it? Let's say, first of all, how you guys doing?
Good. Not bad. Can't complain. Things have been better. Things have been worse.
Well, let's go around a little bit. Let's see. What are your guys' initial reaction? I'll say mine. What are your initial reaction to this movie? That much, huh?
For like a year, almost. What's it been, like 8 months? We've been waiting for it. As soon as they said Taskmaster was going to be in here, we did a video where we talked about like our favorite villains.
Yep.
And I said Taskmaster. He's one of my favorite. And in here, I was waiting for Taskmaster. If we're getting a little spoilery, I'm going to say, let me say this. I did not dig Taskmaster. They pulled a Ben Kingsley on us. You know, I was waiting for him, and I was thinking to myself, it's like the coming of Thanos. I'm thinking comic book Thanos. How are they going to defeat Thanos? There's no way they're going to beat comic book Thanos. They're going to have to dial him down. When Taskmaster, they said he was coming up, I was like, oh my God, there's no way, Black Widow's beating Taskmaster. There's no way. If she and Captain America together fought Taskmaster, there's a good chance that both of them are going to get beat to death. So I'm thinking, what is she going to do by herself? Somebody's got to show up to save her. And it turns out that they did her kind of like Thanos. They took Taskmaster and they dropped Taskmaster's abilities down. I freeze framed it a few times watching it. The stuff that was happening in Taskmaster's helmet, I think, was advising the character on what to do and how to deal with the people that person was fighting. And I'm like, that's not right. It was no good for me. That one part was no good for me.
What were your thoughts on that? The initial thoughts, Taskmaster.
So the reason that I paused in the beginning is because I wanted to hit Troy because I know when we did the list of our top 5 villains, whatever, Taskmaster was Troy's number one guy. So the fact that they did the kind of like the creative licensing on Taskmaster. I wanted Troy to feel my Iron Man 3 pain, right? Mandarin, right? I'm an Iron Man guy. Mandarin's his top villain, and they totally screwed him. So the fact that we didn't see this Taskmaster first appearance right here.
There's my boy with the comics.
First appearance, Avengers 1. What is it? 196. Yes. So the fact that we didn't see that Taskmaster was definitely a letdown as far as the villain was concerned. It was, to me, like the way when they showed the Taskmaster, it was really good until we saw who the Taskmaster was. The Taskmaster was, the daughter of what was the guy's name? Oh man, I forgot that. But he was a character that wasn't in the comic books either. He was created for the movies. He was in the Avengers movie. The first Avengers.
What was his name? I got to look up his name.
Yeah, look up his name. I forgot his name. It's a Russian name, whatever. Shavenko, whatever. But anyway, he was created for the movies. I remember I think it was in the first Avengers movie when Dreykov, yeah, when the Black Widow remember when she's when she's trying to get like information from Loki mentions him. That was the first time that he was ever mentioned. So because he's nowhere in the comics, and I guess Taskmaster, his daughter was the Taskmaster. So obviously they took creative licensing and totally changed it around. They pulled an Iron Man 3 Mandarin on us. So that part I did not like. But the movie itself, I mean, as a whole, I enjoyed. For me, it was, I guess, I think COVID fucked it up for me. it kind of like messed it up for me, because to me this movie should have came out 2 years ago, right?
Right.
This movie, the timeline of this movie is between Civil War and Avengers Infinity.
I've got a lot of people saying the same thing, that this is long overdue.
Exactly.
Should have come out. Right.
So right, exactly, because they basically, it kind of looks like at the end, when they show her sister at the grave,
Right.
and they kind of like have added that in, in the aftermath, because obviously Black Widow is dead. We all know that she's dead now. So it felt like the movie was 2 years too late. If this movie would have came out right after Civil War, I think it would have gotten a much better reception from the Marvel people, like the comic book people. It's gotten a great reception. Like, I think Rotten Tomatoes gave it a good score. Like, most of the people that aren't comic book people have loved the movie because it's a good action movie. I mean, it's a really good action movie. So that part of it I enjoyed. Loved the Red Guardian. Red Guardian was awesome, because that to me tells me that they're going to be, hopefully, I don't know if they're going to do it, but they opened up the idea of introducing the Winter Guard. Winter Guard is amazing. They're like, they're the Avengers of Russia, basically, right? They're like, the Avengers version of Russia. So to me, that was awesome. And they kind of like threw a whole bunch of Easter eggs in there. Like when he's in prison and he's arm wrestling, one of the dudes that he's arm wrestling is he called him Ursa. And Ursa Major
right.
is one of the guys from the Winter Guard. He's this big, giant bear. So that was awesome. The one who played his wife, Melina Vostokov. So Vostokov in the comics, in the Winter Guard, he is it's an Iron Maiden. And they called her Iron Maiden in the movie too. But Iron Maiden is a guy. He's a bald guy. So they kind of did a switch around, on that one also. Maybe, I don't know, maybe because it was a Black Widow movie, they figured, let's make all the people turn into women, I guess.
Right. Yes.
Right. So, but the fact that they introduced the Winter Guard, and like I said, since this is Comics and Pop, this is the first appearance of the Winter Guard right here. This is the volume 3 of Iron Man, Kubiak run, Busiek, I think I suppose his name, Busiek run, Chen, which is an awesome artist. So this is the first appearance of them right here. Iron Man number 9. So for you guys out there, I want to pick this up. And but I thought that was awesome. The fact that they the whole little Easter eggs with the Winter Guard, if they ever introduce them, that would be awesome, because right now they're kind of like they're kind of big in the comic books again, in the Avengers. They're starting this thing called like they had a World War Hulk. Now they're doing World War She-Hulk, and the Winter Guard kind of like they kidnapped the She-Hulk and take her back to Russia because they were working with Dracula. It's a whole story. That's got nothing to do with the Black Widow, but I hope that they introduce the Winter Guard. So yeah, so Black Widow for me, thumbs up. But I'll let you guys talk about it.
I'll say this. I mean, after we spoke about it right after we watched it a little bit, we started taking our initial feelings. I think I liked it more than you guys from what the initial thing. I really enjoyed it. It didn't even feel like a Marvel movie to me, like until like maybe halfway through. It felt like like a real spy thriller. Like it felt like a James Bond type movie. Jason Bourne type thing.
A lot of people say Jason Bourne, yeah.
It just really felt like a whole spy movie until like later on we saw like the first use of a Red Guardian with his powers. And I agree with both of you things, everything that you guys said. The Taskmaster to me was such a letdown, just such a letdown. I was really looking forward to seeing the Taskmaster, and they changed everything that I loved in the comic. I didn't care if it was a guy, a woman. It's just they changed the whole concept. The Taskmaster is such a great character in the comics, and here was like a mindless zombie almost, just doing whatever they're told to do. So that was like a letdown. But the same thing for me, just shoot Red Guardian into my veins. I love that character. I want to see a Red Guardian solo movie now. I thought that character was great. I thought he was funny. I thought that was besides Black Widow, he was like, to me, the breakout of this movie. To me, we have the sister also. She's going to be, we see, setting it up for the future. one thing I will say, that city, the red room, the red room in the sky, it looks so much better in the comics, because when you see it in the movie, and it starts crumbling down, like, how stupid is it to put like a city, a floating city above another city that's just going to crash down and kill all the people below? So just if anything happens. So I thought that was like a little bit, it seems much better in the comics. And that's several times that they've done things like that. But where do you think we're going from here? I mean, we see the ending, we see the Easter egg at the end. Where do we think we're going from here now? We know Hawkeye, I mean, obviously, but what's the future for this franchise now?
I think there's two things happening. I think at the end, throughout the movie, they're giving us an idea of two things and a potential third thing. One thing for sure, Black Widow's gone. I thought maybe they were going to try to pull something sneaky and try to bring her back, or maybe a hint that she is able to come back or something like that. But I'm pretty sure she's gone. So I think just
one thing, what we were talking about, like Iron Man last time, you never know if someone's really gone in Marvel. We know the contracts thing, but we don't know for sure she's gone. But go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, there are superheroes who specifically died to become, Blade, Ghost Rider, Spawn. They had to die first. So yeah, anybody that dies could come back. But I think that the sister is going to be the new Black Widow. In the comics, she's Black Widow. So I think that whatever persona she's got now, and she's working with Val, I think that she
with
either
Elena,
now,
right? Yeah,
Elena. She's either currently calling herself Black Widow, or when she goes to have her mix up with Hawkeye, because Hawkeye changed a lot of villains and brought them over. When they had Cap's quirky quartet, and they had the Hawkeye, Cap, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver. The Cap's quirky quartet, when Hawkeye kept bringing villains over and turning them into heroes. He's got a habit for that in the comics. So I'm thinking, with him being a villain originally, an Iron Man villain actually, with him being a villain and him turning over, I think that she's going to attack him. She's going to be like, come on, man, you killed my sister. And he's going to be like, hold your horses. Let's talk about the Avengers Initiative. And she's going to be like, yeah, okay, I'd rather be a good guy so I can pose. Because my sister used to pose. That's cool.
I did like that part, yes.
That was kind of cool.
That was like very Deadpool type thing, yeah.
Yeah, she kind of broke the fourth wall. I think the other thing that's going to happen is, like you said, Ursa Major. I think that either he is a mutant now, and for some reason he couldn't use his mutant abilities, so he got his arm broke, or he's going to find out later he's a mutant, because they introduced him, and like you said, Winter Guard, Soviet super soldiers. One of those groups I think is going to form, because they've introduced a few of these people. They spent a lot of time in Budapest. They spent a lot of time over there in Russia.
Yes, right.
I'm thinking, they're gonna introduce somebody new. I think this is a setup for a new team. Also, Val is going to she's going to pull an Amanda Waller, and I think she's going to start showing up in people's movies, bringing the villains to her.
Well, I think it was like what Carlos said before. I think Carlos, it felt. What do you think of Val showing up there? To me, it was a little bit jarring to see her there. To me, it was also felt obvious that this was filmed way after the movie was filmed. That's what it felt like, at least. Maybe they didn't, but that's exactly what it felt like. That they just introduced her in Falcon Winter Soldier, so they threw her in here. And if you didn't see Falcon Winter Soldier, you're looking at that end credit like, who the hell is this?
So the thing is this about that is that this movie was supposed to come out before Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She was supposed to be introduced before, like this was supposed to be her first appearance into the Marvel universe, into the MCU, and then the when we see her in the Winter Soldier, that's supposed to be her second appearance, basically, because this.
So you read that this was going to come out first with that scene?
Yeah, she was supposed to come out first in the Black Widow movie. Right, because she's got she's got her hands all in like the dark stuff of government, right? And if she's if she has her hands, if she has her working for her, maybe she knows something about the whole Winter Guard stuff as well, right? Because remember, at the end of the movie, they Red Guardian, the Iron Maiden, and her, they left with the other people in the airplane, right? So as far as how
and the Taskmaster.
And the Taskmaster, right? So these people all left together. So as far as we know, they could have went and started their own group, the winter, like their own Winter Guard or whatever, like their version of the Winter Guard. And and they have she's got a connections to the Hydra and all that world. She would be connected to her, right? So that's what she was supposed to be introduced. And then in the Winter Soldier, it was supposed to be her second appearance, from what I know, from what I've heard. I mean, I can't say this for 100%, but this was supposed to come out before the Winter Soldier. So I think that as far as like where this is going to go, I mean, it could go so many ways. Black Widow has always been someone that's been kind of dear to me because her ties to Iron Man. Her first appearance was in Tales of Suspense in Iron Man. Like I said, the Winter Guard.
It always comes back to Iron Man for you.
Everything always. That's what I'm saying. Everything always comes back to Iron Man. The Winter Guard, Iron Man. The Crimson Dynamo, who's the first leader of the Winter Guard, the Crimson Dynamo, Iron Man. Everything, all this is always attached to Iron Man. Even the what do you call it? The Red Guardian, his first appearance was in the Avengers, Iron Man, right? So he's more like he's supposed to be like the Russian Captain America, basically. So
we could be talking about a Looney Tunes thing with Bugs Bunny. He said, that reminds me of something in Iron Man that happened once.
Yes, exactly. So to me, they killed Iron Man. They killed the Black Widow, right? So it's like, where can it go? It was just got to be a whole bunch of little Easter eggs and the offsprings of that because, like you said, like they're saying that they might bring it back, but if they bring back Iron Man, I think it'll be more like maybe in like dream sequences or like past things. I don't think they're going to bring him back to life because they obviously buried him. He's dead, right? Unless they but I'm saying, but in the comics they killed Iron Man as well, and his like CGI came back, so maybe they bring back like a like a robot version of him, like a CGI, and he takes over an Iron Man suit, right? Like his brain, whatever, So who knows? But I like you were saying that you enjoyed the Black Widow more than this. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Like I didn't like the whole Taskmaster thing because obviously because Taskmaster I felt like Troy. He's one of my favorite villains as well. So the fact that they totally changed it around and did it that way, I didn't enjoy it. But I enjoyed the movie. The only thing that I think that I didn't like really about the movie was the fact when it came out, that it came out 2 years too late. Like this movie, we should have seen this movie 2 years ago. We should have watched this movie before we watched Avengers. Infinity War, and just cut out the part at the end, when she's at the, at the freaking at her
cemetery, at the gravestone, right?
Exactly.
So, but I thought the movie was good. I enjoyed it.
I tell you, I think I know why comic book viewers and the average moviegoer saw the movie a little bit different. It's like you go to the movie, you sit down, and you're watching Fast and the Furious, and The Rock is in a fist fight with Vin Diesel, and they bust through the wall, and they're rolling around, and machine gun fire is everywhere. Cars are blowing up. Everybody walks out there like, man, that was a great movie. What was the name of that movie? And then somebody goes, oh, that was Batman Part 3. All of a sudden, it takes on a whole nother life, and you're like, Batman? Well, that wasn't right. There's a whole lot of stuff that was wrong with that. We see it as like, wait a minute, that wasn't right. They did some stuff that was wrong. It was a good movie. Action, there was a good fight.
A lot of action, yeah.
A lot of action. I mean, through the whole thing, cars blowing up. There was all of this great stuff happening. But then when you realize it's Black Widow and, certain things are supposed to happen and like Val shows up. I had heard the same thing too, that this was supposed to be her first appearance. So I'm thinking they changed her dialect. Don't say what you were going to say before because people already know you. We got to cut the film. So instead of having your 10-minute soliloquy, we're going to cut it down to 3 sentences or something. It goofed the movie up a little bit with the changes that they made. Being comic book guys, we looked at it and we're like, but the actual average guy going is like, stuff is blowing up. Yeah, there's machine gun fire. Yeah, Avengers, and it's cool because it's another Avengers movie, basically. So I think that's why we would see it different from the average moviegoer. It was still a good movie, but it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what
Well, I mean, I did enjoy. I did feel that post-credit scene it didn't feel right to me. Although I think we all said this after Falcon Winter Soldier. I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus is unbelievable. I think she's going to be great. I think the more we see of her, the better that character is just going to keep getting better and better. She plays evil really well, which I'm shocked at how good she's playing someone that's evil in this. But I was expecting more from the post-credit scene. I was expecting like another movie. I was expecting, some something spectacular, and instead of just like promoting the next Disney Plus series, from Hawkeye. That I don't know. I just wanted something more at the end to lead me into it. It's like kind of deflating that post-credit scene.
I'm not shocked that Julie Louis-Dreyfus is being evil, because when I think of her in Seinfeld, and she was, I mean, they were kind of evil if you think about it. They weren't, these weren't nice.
They weren't nice, but yes, they weren't evil.
They were not nice people. These people were not nice at all,
Right.
So I can see her playing like evil. I can see it.
Going to jail, so
right. I can definitely see her playing evil. Like I said, I mean,
there's a difference between getting all these villains together to form a unit than saying this is not sponge-worthy. So it's something different.
Right.
See, that's the thing too. When you see the end, she clearly gave Elena like some time off, because she's telling her, I'm supposed to have this time to myself. So she must have given her that time off, meaning that they're already working together. So she's probably already got her team assembled. I'm curious who's on it. With the Abomination, he's out, and he's got to be a part of the team. I mean, if Ross has anything to do with it, he's got to be a part of the team. And I can see Elena and Val having a connection, because in the comics, she's eventually revealed to be a Russian agent. So she's got roots there. So she may know about, like you said, she probably knew about these guys from onset. So she probably, she's sitting at her desk, pulling up her computer. I can just see her looking at her computer, telling some guy to go get her something to drink, some peasant dude that works for her. And then she's looking at all of these files of all of these villains, probably heroes too, that she thinks she can turn. All of these people that she's looking at. And like the one guy in the, what was it? The Captain America Part 2, Civil War. I think it was Civil War, the Part 2, where the guy's sitting there and he's got the glasses, the bald guy, and he's like, there's a Dr. Banner. We're going to kill him, and Dr. Strange. We're going to have him killed. And I'm thinking they just mentioned Dr. Strange. But what I was more interested in was they knew about all of these other people. So she probably has that information because they know about these people way back. Shield/Hydra did. She's got her fingers in that. So she's got to know about them. So there's no telling when they finally show her. I'm assuming it's going to be the Thunderbolts. I'm not sure, but I guess the Thunderbolts. When they show her villainous team, there's no telling who's going to be on that roster, and I'm really curious.
Well, I'm assuming it's Thunderbolts because they had Ross in this. They kept showing him throughout the movie, so I'm assuming it is going to be Thunderbolts.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
But you also got to remember that. Remember, there was in the beginning of the movie when they're showing pictures of the guy who ran the Red Room. They're showing pictures of him with like world leaders, right? Yeah. So he's this guy knows people. Everybody knows people know who this guy is, and they thought he was dead when the Black Widow killed him. That's when he took it to the sky, whatever. Just like Shield went to the skies, right? And they had the big helicarriers and stuff. That was like a version. That was like the Russian version of a helicarrier, I guess, right? Yeah. So this guy is and if he has all these hundreds of Black Widows throughout the world,
Right.
that are assassins. I'm sure there are people who know of him and are paying him to to use the Black Widows to go out and kill people and stuff, right? So this guy's got to have all kinds of ties with Hydra and the down low part of the U.S. government and stuff, right? So, and that's where she comes in. So,
but I was wondering if we're even going to see. Getting back to Taskmaster, it felt like this was going to be just Taskmaster being thrown away. I didn't even get the sense when the movie, I don't know how you guys felt. I didn't even get the sense when the movie ended that Taskmaster's coming back. It just felt like, okay, that's it. And I hope that's not the case, or maybe we'll finally get a version closer to what we know. But it just felt like that's the end of Taskmaster for a while. And you wasted such a great villain then.
What I'm hoping, because as soon as I saw it, when I was watching it, and I was waiting for Taskmaster, and then the car blows up, and Taskmaster is walking through the flames. I'm like, oh, it's on now. And I'm thinking someone's got to save her. So there's going to be a hero that's going to bust through the flames to help her fight because she can't beat him. So I'm like, oh, this is it. And then later on, I'm like, it's a woman. I stood up and I paused it because I was watching on TV. I paused it and I'm looking around because I'm like, somebody's punking me. This can't be right. So this can't be right. But it was. So what I'm thinking is the only way that they can redeem themselves, because if we're talking about it, Marvel's got to be feeling the heat. We can put hits out on people. I know that we can change the course of the world from here.
Well, I think after we talked about the Iron Fist hate last time, I think someone mentioned that they're getting rid of it maybe. And my son was all pissed off with us for saying it because he liked the character. So
I think Marvel can feel us from here. So I'm going to put this into the ether. I think
Taskmaster did get a lot of hate online. If you go to Twitter, Taskmaster got a lot of hate online to what they did to the
Taskmaster
character.
was horrible. And no offense to the woman, because she didn't even really say more than 2 sentences in the entire movie. So it wasn't like she wasn't, her face was covered in the whole 9. But the character itself was complete trash. But I'm thinking they're going to say, hey, you know what? What was his name? Yurkov or whatever his name was, Dracoff. They're going to say Dracoff had his daughter brought back because he stole a sample of the power of the blood or the genetic material from the actual Taskmaster and gave it to his daughter, which saved her life. And it gave her these kind of quasi Taskmaster-like abilities. But there's a real one out there somewhere, just like Ben Kingsley. He stole the identity of the Mandarin, but there was a real one out there, and he came back. So I'm thinking maybe they can do something. People would look at it and say, "Oh man, you guys already did that." I would accept that. For the real Taskmaster, I'd be okay with them doing that again.
Well, it's just the same thing that we talked about before. They just wasted the character because they had her being like this mindless thing, just like listening to orders. The Taskmaster is so filled with personality, and you just wasted not having the dialogue, not having the quips, not taunting the villains, the heroes. I mean, so you just wasted that whole character. I do hope there, and I did get sad at the end too, thinking this is it for Black Widow, because it's such a sad thing to see. That's it for Scarlett Johansson. That's it for the character of Black Widow. At the last scene that she just leaves there. So I do hope that she comes back. The same thing I hope for Downey to come back as Iron Man. Chris Evans, the same thing. I do hope that she does come back, because it was just like such a bummer that we ended it. That we know that she's not coming back, man.
She's not coming back. Downey's not
Don't
coming
say
back.
that.
They're not coming back. Is it bad that I feel like I feel a little bit of closure knowing that you guys are feeling my Iron Man 3 pain? Because I mean when they kill the Mandarin the way they did in Iron Man 3, it's kind of like how you guys are feeling right now what they did to the Taskmaster. Because obviously we all know in the comic books the Taskmaster was a man and his wife was at home barefoot and pregnant and stuff, right, in the comics. So the fact that they totally changed it around. I mean, it's just I think I understand what Troy's saying, because now they're bringing back the Mandarin and they're gonna do him in Shang-Chi, right? But even though, and I mean, the jury's still out because we haven't seen Shang-Chi. But even in Shang-Chi, they still even changed them around a little bit because they combined them. They made the Mandarin, into Shang-Chi's father, and they combined two characters into one to make the Mandarin in the movie. So they even changed it around a little bit.
Well, I don't care. I honestly don't care that if it was a guy, a woman. I don't care about that. I didn't like the character.
Oh, I care.
That I didn't like the character as just not being, just not having that attitude that the Taskmaster does in the comic. And just to get your point, I don't necessarily feel your pain, because if Marvel came to me and said, we're going to kill off a hero, and it's going to be Black Widow, Iron Man, whatever, but we'll leave Spider-Man alone, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, do what you want. As long as Spider-Man's fine. As long as Spider-Man's okay.
No.
Yeah, do what you want.
With the Mandarin, not with Iron Man. That's a whole different story.
No, but you said you felt your pain about the Black Widow's gone. I don't necessarily feel that pain.
No, not the Black Widow's gone. What I was saying, you guys felt my pain about how they messed up the Mandarin, and how they messed up Taskmaster.
As long as you do Spider-Man stuff right, I'm all right.
You know what?
Yeah, we already knew Black Widow was dead, so it's like,
it's still sad.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why, to me, this movie, the bad thing about this movie is the timing. This movie should have came out before the Avengers Infinity War.
Marvel has been the love child of Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Robinson, and Sugar Ray Lewis, and Rocky, all balled up into one, and just hits after hits after hits, knocking out the box office. It figures that every once in a while they'd have to get hit back. So Black Widow was still a great movie. As far as comic book movies go, and as far as movies in general go, great movie. As far as Marvel itself goes, it's okay. But
it did not feel like a Marvel movie at first, right?
It didn't feel like a Marvel movie. But as a movie in general, it's probably going to make tons and tons of money.
It already made. They said it made 200 million worldwide this weekend.
Oh, well, see, there you go. And I didn't get any of that. What's up with that?
All right. We're over here promoting the movie, and we're not getting anything.
Well, if anyone from Marvel does want to come on, anyway, that's our thoughts on the Black Widow movie. Let us know what you guys thought in the comments. Let us know what you guys thought of the movie. Thought about the action, the ending, Taskmaster, and why there was no role for Kang.
Loki. We got to talk Loki.
We got to talk Loki this weekend. Episode number 6 coming up. So we'll talk that right after it's done. But anyway, this has been Comics and Pop. I'm Jonathan, along with Carlos and Troy. And again, thanks for watching. And remember, hit that subscribe button. Bye-bye.